Good, man. Honestly, I was excited when, we had that lunch,
Yeah,
or dinner, if you will, early
yeah.
dinner, because we're old now.
I don't even remember eating.
Yeah, yeah. We really didn't do
We
much
didn't.
eating. I
No.
remember when I got home, I told my wife, I was like, yeah, we didn't even eat much because I was even going to get like something on the side and bring it back. And I was like, I didn't even bring leftovers or nothing. I was
Yeah.
like, we started eating and then conversation went and we were like,
It didn't
forget
stop.
this food. Yeah, eat a few bites while it was hot and left it.
Yeah.
But no, I was excited once we came, to that, agreement and kind of knowing what we needed to do and, having me here and having
Yeah.
me on here
Absolutely.
with you. And yeah, I was right.
With
I was ready to
Kevin.
go. Yeah, we're ready to get Kevin on,
Kevin's on
back
the
there.
next
He's
show,
on the
so we
camera,
established
right?
this
Yeah,
show. Is
yeah,
Kevin's
yeah.
on the next show.
Hey, that's cool.
Maybe you guys could do like a sports, for just
Yeah,
a couple
yeah.
of God fearing guys talking about,
Talking sports,
LeBron James,
eating
whatever.
naps,
Yeah, eating naps.
I had to really think about it because I'm like, okay, a lot of people are talking about this thing. And as you
Really
see, like the
common right now.
rises
Yeah.
of like a lot of these new churches that have been coming out, and some that have been around for a couple of years, I mean, they're making millions of dollars a year, let alone each Sunday with tithes and offering.
Yeah.
So I really had to think about it. And I was like, this is tough.
Yeah.
This is
It's
really
tough.
tough to see. For me, it was tough to
Yeah.
see like which side am I really on? Because
Because I know which side we want to be on. You know what
correct,
I mean? But it's like, but that's not the question here. The
correct.
question is, should that
Should that be the
be the
thing?
case?
Now, my approach to it when I started thinking about it was not only did I know what side to be on, but I understand like the job and the role of like these pastors, and the senior pastors of these churches. I understand like how much is involved and for them to like it's not I know a lot of people say like, "Oh, do that work for God and go get another job."
Yeah.
To pay for your bills and pay for your lifestyle, take care of your family.
Mm.
But I feel like you can't like hide the fact that like pastorship is work. And like although it looks like glamorizing, people standing as you're walking in and people are clapping, "Oh, it's the man of God." Although it seems glamorizing, it's probably one of the like I don't know, like not really enjoyable positions. Like
Yeah.
it's not literally as enjoyable as it looks on the outside looking in than what it really is.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you have these like pastors that like, sure, they get to show up on Sunday in a nice car, but
Or
they're
you get
like
to
on
be
call. Like
Todd. What is his name? Who's the guy I don't like?
who
Is
Michael
it
Todd
Mike? Or you get to be Michael Todd. You show up in like
and his
sports
Tesla and
shorts.
his sports shorts and
Dude,
stuff.
orange shorts, orange blazer. He had like a drum line show for that service. I'm not here to talk about. That's another week.
Terrible. Yeah.
I'm not here to talk about
Yeah,
that.
yeah. But
But
it
we're also not here to judge him for that. Like we're
correct.
also not here to judge him for that.
Correct.
That's just
Correct.
personal. That's just like personal like preference, like kind of thing. Like I'm like, bro, you could have just put on some jeans.
Correct.
But
You
anyways,
could have put
yeah.
something else on.
Yeah, that's yeah.
But yeah, so I'm saying like, okay, I get they have to make a living. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And the living that
They're
they
living
make, it's
good.
dependent upon the church income.
They're living good.
And they are living good.
They're living really
And they're living really well.
Yeah.
And this is that part. This is where like I guess with that right there, that factual statement, this is where it got difficult for me because I'm like, on one side of the spectrum as Christians, we do often say, I want the abundance that God has. I want more. I want more. I want more.
Yeah.
And when we see a Christian living in the abundance, we think that they're a sinner and they're terrible. Money is the root of all evil. You're evil now.
Like
You're
almost like we don't even believe the guarantee that we're trying to sell ourselves.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. So it's more of like, okay, if we see them living in abundance, if we see them having the things that we want to have as well, be thankful that yes, God's working on the scene. You know what I mean? It's not my time yet, you know what I mean? But he's still working. If I saw like everyone just Amished and
Yeah.
everyone just going through, then I'm like, yeah, dude, we need to reevaluate this God thing we got going on because no one's benefiting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The whole world is impoverished,
Yeah.
but that's not the case. Now, what like made it, I guess you could say, what made me come on the other side of it was realizing that sure, if a church makes $1 million, there's no reason why the pastor should only make 40,000. That just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But what, and this kind of dips into, which is why I liked it, dips into the other topic that you were talking about and the other notes that you presented to me. But it's not necessarily about the money that they're getting. I know a lot of people, they have like, oh, the money, they're making too much money, they're making too much money. But kind of just like what you were saying in the Michael Todd reference is that what is the money being spent on?
Yeah.
So if sure your church is making $1 million a year, you're taking home, I don't know, 500K, 350K a year in your pastor's salary, but you have people in your church that are starving and hungry. You have people in your church that are probably taking Ubers to get to your church. You know, it's
Bumming
like
rides,
bumming rides, and
bus
you know
rides.
exactly. You probably have people in your church who are unemployed,
Yeah.
and this is when it comes to that point when they're like, "Oh, the church is so powerful. We're praying. I felt so good. We were in prayer, and come on, God's here for you. Trust, trust," and all these motivational speeches that
Yeah.
are being given out. And what's happening is that the church itself, if we have enough money to pay the pastor $350,000 a year, why aren't we using some of these other millions
Mm,
to do what the church is supposed to do?
mm,
So I get it. The pastor, go ahead, take your little salary.
mm.
But what is your money going
Yeah.
towards?
And
You know?
I want to get into that, and it's like, and I didn't realize, like, you kind of really like really connected it. I didn't realize how interconnected they were. Obviously they are, because they're both dealing with money.
Correct.
They're both dealing with money that's coming directly into and being, divvied up amongst, professionals in the church.
Correct.
So it's like, of course they're related.
Correct.
But yeah, we'll definitely get into that, because we will stay stuck on that.
Yeah.
And it's a whole, because now
Yeah.
that you're opening my eyes to, I'm just like, wow, that's a fatter topic than I realized that it was.
That's
a
why I told
way
you.
fatter topic
I
than
was
I realized.
so excited.
So
I
let's
was
stay away.
yeah.
Let's stay away from what they're spending money on.
Yes,
So let's
yes.
answer two questions.
Correct.
Let's answer two questions. We're going to start the question one. Um, you know, why are they getting paid, or like why should they get paid like what they're getting paid? So so like we'll answer that question first. Why should they get paid? So we'll argue the positive, we'll argue the negative. So why should praise team leaders, associate co-pastor of the co-pastor's assistant pastor is making 60,000 a year? Why are they seeing that kind of money when, for example, like my primary job, I get paid $32,000 a year, and with my extra spare time, I am trying to make time to develop my ministry, give time to God, and I'm doing it freely, and I'm doing it my free will. And you're putting in way more than 40 hours
Yeah.
on that ministry. So now, why should you get it? My immediate short answer is what I just said. Why would I want to get paid $35,000 a year doing not the Lord's work, but when I could get paid $60,000 a year to get called to play, piano, guitar, any of the instruments that I know, getting called to play those at any service, and you're like, hey, we're having a youth conference. Okay, cool. We'll pay you, $1,200 in room and board to come
Gotcha.
play. So it's like, why should they now? So
I like that.
reflect on that.
I like that. So why should they? So let me go to that first before I dive too much into like, really getting into the answer to the question. So kind of exactly how you were just saying about you work at a job and you receive a pay, you receive a salary, you receive money. And looking at how the world is today, there's a lot of people that are frustrated with their level of income.
Yeah.
Because inflation on the rise, everything just getting out of wax, cost of living, everything is increased. So people are looking at their companies where they work for, and they're demanding raises. They're demanding some more benefits, privileges, whatever that can come out of this. Even when COVID was taking place, hazard pay, things, people were looking for some sort of like thank you pay, or just, helping them, just to be able to increase whatever money they're making.
Yeah, like, let me know that you got me.
Correct.
Yeah.
So, and why are they doing that? I would say, and the reason they're doing that is because that's their job, and they have the means that, hey, if I'm working here, I want to get paid, but I want to get paid, more than what you're paying me. Because, in any company, sure, they may be paying the line workers 22, 23, 24 bucks an hour, but that amount of money that they're paying those line workers is so minimal. It's not even, they don't even see it as like employee payouts. They see it as like tax write-offs.
Yeah.
Like, you guys are just tax write-offs for me. We're paying you so minimal, we can just write this stuff off. So they know that you can get paid more. Anyone at their job knows that if you want to pay me more, you can pay me more. McDonald's, $16, $17, $18 an hour as a register. Oh, cool, it's great for a minimum wage job, but you guys can easily be paying me 45, 50 bucks an hour. You guys make billions of dollars, probably what, each month? It's ridiculous how much money they make. You know what I mean? Like, so the money's there. So when people in their natural jobs are kind of like wanting the more money because of the work they're doing, because it's work, I feel that same way for a pastor. It's work, but it's only work if the church is doing what the church is supposed to do. Because I feel like the church doesn't do what the church used to do, like when musicians are coming in just to play on Sunday. I don't like it. It started to upset my stomach years ago when I noticed, like, okay, so a drummer will come into the service, he plays, but once praise and worship is over, he's gone. Why? Because he has to go to his next gig.
Mm.
So I'm like, these are just gigs we're jumping to. Now, in that regard, I'm like, yeah, no, as a pastor, as a leader of a church, I'm not paying you anything to come and perform for an hour or two.
Because I should pay you to perform. Because if you're coming to perform,
Correct.
I will pay you to perform.
Correct.
But you're not here to perform.
You're not here.
You know?
Yeah.
And we'll get to that when we get to the negative.
Correct.
Because we're steering
We're
into
still
the negative.
yeah.
But let's steer in the positive. So
Correct.
it's like, yeah, so like for somebody who's not just treating it as a gig, like, why, oh well, I should get paid, I should get compensated, like as a praise and worshiper, as a co-pastor, like I said, it is work.
Correct.
I agree wholeheartedly. I see more clearly than ever how hard ministry growing up, how hard they work.
Yes.
And in the particular, denomination of apostolic doctrine that I grew up in, is that, the only person who kind of receives that benefit of putting in the full-time work is the pastor.
Yes.
Everybody else, it's a voluntary time.
Yes.
It's a voluntary, community service.
Community service.
It's basically, because that's what you would write it off as, right?
Yeah.
Like, well, how are you having all these people work for you, work 40, 60 hours a week, building things for you, building things for the church, doing this, doing that, doing that. And it's like, and that's something that always pricked my heart, which was like, that again, where this topic came from is that I'm just like, they should be getting helped in some way. They're providing a service. Some of them are doing what a business would do for the church. Like I knew of a gentleman who built the stage for the church. A 67-year-old man.
Wow.
Built the whole stage, like nearly by himself. Only like some youth helped him in maybe, carrying heavier materials because he's 67 years old, but other than that, he built it. No compensation. Maybe like, oh, we'll take you to dinner. And it's like, no, that's not compensation. And of course, he didn't ask for a dime, why? Because he's a servant. Because he served. He said, this is how I serve.
Correct.
I can't sing. I can't dance. I can't, do this. I can't preach. I can't teach, or, whatever. Or maybe I'm too old. Nobody wants to hear me. But you know what I can do to serve? I can build that stage.
I can do this. I can contribute.
So why wasn't the person who was able to contribute, like also receiving like the benefit of what the church is receiving? And that's what the church is receiving it for, like
I have it for you.
Yeah.
It's because the focus is in the wrong place.
Yeah.
So like worship definitely opens the atmosphere, but it's so much harder. It's so much difficult to find committed worshipers that are just come for the sake of community service, as opposed to a few helping hands of people who help you stack some chairs and let some chairs out.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a hard thing, so it's harder to see the real service. We don't really credit actual service when people are actually providing that service, that servanthood. We're not crediting that, but we are crediting, not saying that the worshipers aren't providing service, but like I said, once again, the reason behind your service, are you just there for the gig's sake, exposing your name, getting your name out there? Or you really, like I said, like I feel like the church, you can pay the praise team leaders, you can pay the worship leaders, pay the people in the pit, pay the pastors,
on
the
paper,
associate
it makes
pastors.
sense. On paper, it makes sense.
Pay them,
like,
but I feel like what are we paying you for though? You know what I mean? Like I can't just pay you $350,000 a year to preach on Sunday.
Yeah.
And Bible study on Wednesday. What about youth night? What about just a random worship night? What about maybe fundraising events at the church weekly? The church is supposed to be a place of like hospitality, a place where me as a believer, no matter what I'm going through in life, I should be able to walk into a church, driving down a neighborhood, and I'm like, man, I'm really going through. Let me just walk into this church right here in this neighborhood. That church should be open during the day, during the week, available for people to come in and for them to serve the community.
Yeah, that's kind of a side. That's a great point, and I feel like that is a. Like, is what you're really like, dude, you're really bringing that in me of like,
I'm trying not to.
We don't have enough time.
It's okay.
You keep doing it. You need to stop because we're getting off topic, and you're feeling like I'm packed up
It
for
keeps
the
it
next
natural.
6
Yes.
parts podcast. We're not done with this topic.
We're not. And
We're
that's
not
okay.
done.
And that's
There's-
okay.
Like, because there's so many aspects, and just to kind of give you like maybe even anyone who's watching your preview, it's like because now I'm thinking about okay, like where do we come from? Like now we go okay, where do we come from the word standpoint on where the money's going, why it's going? Where do we come from, like culture and how, like how you said, the church may not be doing what it's doing. Okay, well, if we are paying, if we are distributing what God has allowed us to, what the people are giving back to the church for God to distribute, if we're not putting that back into
The
the
community. Yeah.
community or into even just the people who serve,
Yes.
it's like, then where is it going? It's going to my orange shorts and orange sport coat in my
Yeah.
Tesla. Like, that's where it's going. So now that's a whole nother topic of, so it's like, okay, well, like, how are you benefiting the church if people are getting paid to do their ministry? Because
Correct.
then I go into another, it's never ending. Because
It's
then I
never
go into
ending.
the one where I'm like, because you made a great point. It's like, now I'm thinking, I'm like, okay, so just like we've seen so many churches sprout up, so many, like, vertical, horizontal, elevation, low elevation, like all
All these
all
churches.
these
Yeah.
churches, just like these one word names, they're blowing my mind. That, like, soon Voltage Church, who
Yeah.
knows? You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's like, it was as good as any other
Yeah.
name.
Yeah. Yeah.
I saw a church that was called like a Free Square or something like
Yeah.
that. I was like, free
Yeah,
square,
they just come up with anything. Anything.
anything. And I'm thinking, I'm just like, but how many of these churches, and I'm not making a judgment on any of these churches, but I'm just saying, like, how many are a place of refuge? Like
Mhm.
you're saying, it's like,
Mhm.
can I'm struggling with depression. I have, life-ending thoughts
Mhm.
that I'm struggling with.
Mhm.
And, and I remember going to this youth night like 2 weeks ago. Somebody invited me, but I don't have anyone's number. I didn't really get anyone's Instagram.
Mhm.
It's like, but I remember where the church is. I'm
Mhm.
gonna pull into the church. I'm gonna walk right in there because the door's gonna be open,
Mhm.
and I'm gonna walk right in, and there's gonna be an associate
Someone
pastor, a
there.
youth pastor, somebody who is just there minding the church. And it says, yeah, absolutely, we'll pray for you. I'm gonna call up 8, 7 people. We're gonna come in
We're
and we're
coming
just
in
gonna talk it out. We're gonna
now.
preach it
Yep.
out. We're gonna deal with it now. We're
Now.
gonna cast out the enemy now. We're gonna cast out the spirit of depression now. All those thoughts now. Not, well, yeah, why don't you come back on Sunday? We're having
No. No.
this friends church. It's like we're paying you $500,000 a year for you to say, come on
Come
Friends
on,
Day.
Friends Day. That's the thing right there. So
So
do
that's the
we, like you
negative. Now
said,
we're on the
are we
negative. Why
really
paying them?
yeah, why are we paying them? Are we really
The church,
the church? Are we really serving, or do you just want
or is
people
this a
there?
job?
Do you just want people there?
Yeah.
Are you just there to build your business?
Yeah.
Is this your ministry or is this your business? Are you in ministry or are you in business?
And I think there's room for both.
There's room for both.
But when you're
But
doing
the business
both,
of what? The business of
what?
God, not the business of
Yes.
self.
Dude.
See, a lot of people have like, oh, I always wanted to be this when I grew up. So let me like be that under the umbrella of pastorship. And then I can get my album out. I can get this out. I can get all the fame. I can get all these people, so I'm like a celebrity, but not a Hollywood celebrity, but I'm still a celebrity nonetheless.
But it's starting to feel that way.
Yes.
Look at the Maverick City Music.
Yes.
Situation,
And what they did in the Grammys and the BET Awards and everything that they're doing in there.
Another topic. For
Another
time.
topic, because it's getting so loose. Like, how desperate can we get?
And I think that it's
for
great.
fame.
I think that it's great that it's expanding, because I'll tell you this: I've seen just through social media alone, which I think there's something that could be said at another time. How, again, just like we could at another time, we could argue not argue, but we could talk about the positive, we talk about the negative. Hopefully, meet somewhere where God is. But social media has been a detriment to society, to our young people, to everybody, to myself, to yourself too, I'm sure. And it's like, but I have never seen growth and like people who you, even as believers, sometimes we're like, no, that guy never come to Christ. Oh, well, that guy, like, they're so in their atheism, or like, I'm so much smarter. I know so much science that it disproves, like, like you see those people that are just so in the resolutions of the world. Gotcha. You're just like, that person will never serve Christ. And then you see their testimony and they're like, that person is on fire for God. And I've never seen it more powerful now than with social media. And it's like, but it's great. It's fantastic. It's like, but like you said, it's so loosey-goosey, topsy-turvy, that it's like, it's expanding at such a rapid rate. It's like, but kind of like, unfortunately, I hate to relate it to business, but kind of like on a business standpoint, if you have a product and you expand that product too quick, what do you lose? Quality of the product.
Exactly.
So it's like, I hate to kind of relate it to that, but it's the fact. It's like, I remember going to a service to where 100 people were baptized in the name of Jesus. 100 people were baptized. I guarantee 80% of those people, that was the last day. That
Mm.
was the last day that they sought, God, or sought, like, I don't know, maybe if they're going to a life group before, or some kind of Bible study or
Mhm.
whatever. It's
Mhm.
like that was the last time. It's like, oh yeah, I got baptized. I felt like an emotional connection, but then after that, I didn't feel it again.
Mhm. Mhm.
So it's like we're expanding at this rate. Hundreds upon hundreds of thousands of people are receiving the spirit, the spirit of God, or receiving the
Mhm.
Holy Ghost, whatever it may be, or just having the realization that it's like Jesus is real. It's like, but then who's there? The
Correct.
church is supposed to be there to be
Correct.
like, hey, let's shepherd you, let's disciple you,
Correct.
let's get
And
you on the right path.
and with you're saying about the church, removing it from brick and mortar, ourselves being the church, body of Christ, supposed to be there doing all that. And like what we were kind of how you were saying about what Maverick City Music and them were doing at the Grammys and stuff, and kind of how went on, and it's like it's like I get that because, like you said, the new age thing, like I'm not against the new millennium, the new modern way to do things and how church has changed and developed, if you
As
will.
long as the word doesn't change.
Correct. Like do that portion. So like Maverick City Music, you're gonna go to the BET Awards, you want to do Grammy stuff, go ahead, go there. I believe that like you can go there, your music is good enough, you guys have the ability to be on those kinds of platforms. But don't conform yourself to what's going on there. Be the light that'll say, hey, I get this is what you guys have going on over here. I understand this is what you guys are doing, but I'm here to worship God and I'm here to minister to you in a way that'll cause you to do the same.
Yeah.
Some people will get it, some people won't, but I'm not going to conform to the way you guys are doing things in order to get you to do it. No, because when it comes to the Spirit of God, when it comes to just God in general worship and just Him bringing those that He needs and exposing Himself to those that He wants to expose Himself to, it's with loving kindness. It's simple. We don't have to like manipulate the process because, like you said, all we end up doing is becoming too loose, becoming too fluid, and really just being a product, an object that's lost its value.
Yeah. That has no quality. Like it has no shimmer, no shine, no
Yeah.
gleam. Like it's what it looks like. It's like, oh, it's like diamonds. Like,
Mm-hmm.
right, you look at like a lot of times people say, oh, well, why are you gonna go purchase the diamond when you
Mm-hmm.
could get the cubic zirconia,
Mm-hmm.
which I think you put me on game about. The cubic zirconia, it's like $15 at
Yeah.
Walmart.
Yeah.
The diamond's $1,500 at K Jewelers or whatever. It's like, but one has value, gleam, glitter, shine.
Yes.
The other one is just the shape.
Yes.
It's just the shape. When you look at it, it looks like the right thing.
Yes.
But the minerals, the interior, what's on the inside is not the same.
It's not the same.
It's not the same. It's not the same substance.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what this feels like. It feels like, and this is now we're on the we're not even.
It's
we're not
okay.
even-
It's okay. Like you said,
we're
we
not-
agree. We come to disagreement, maybe agreement, but we will end up ending
Yeah.
where God wants us
where
to be.
God wants us to be, where God wants us where wants us to think about. I think and this, if I could speak on it, it's
Yeah.
like I think God absolutely wants us to be in the position where He's blessed us. He wants
Mhm.
us to reside in the position that He's blessed us.
Mhm.
He doesn't want us to if a church is, for example, let's say like this online ministry that we are that this is a part of, that this is happening, right? This becomes successful to a degree where you and I are reaping a benefit
Mhm.
that is, unmatched to what
Mhm.
we would have thought.
Mhm.
My inclining, my desire, and I'm sure what God would have put us in a position to do was to allow ourselves to, like, for example, have videography staff,
Mhm.
photography staff,
Mhm.
social media staff, whatever
Mhm.
the case may be, whatever roles become available,
Mhm.
to be able to assign those roles
Mhm.
and compensate those people that are meeting those roles because they are doing a job.
Mhm.
But the thing is, they're not doing social media management for Ariana Grande.
No.
They're doing it for the word to go out.
Yes.
Or not even for sometimes for the word to go out, or just for that we as a
The
community,
message in general.
the
Yeah.
message
The
in
right
general.
message. Yeah.
Yeah, so that the right message is going out, so that this message is going out.
Yeah.
They have value, they have that quality, that gleam, that glitter, that shine, because they're behind the method of projecting that. They're like, we're
Gotcha.
behind, just like I said with that gentleman who made the stage. He may not have been where we're sitting.
Mhm.
He may not have been behind the pulpit,
Mhm.
but he was just as integral of the word going out to the people
Yes.
as the pastor who stands on the stage.
Yes.
So I am for that happened because I'll be honest, I'm like, there was times where I'm like, man, I wish I at least got like a dub, like
Yeah,
to go
yeah,
get
yeah.
some in and out after this service.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
I'm like, I'm broke. I hitched a ride here. I gotta find a ride back. It's like, but I came here out of the love of being able to play and the love of that I was given these gifts to give it to God.
Correct.
Like that's what I've always been there for.
Correct. Yeah.
You know what I mean? To this day,
Yeah.
I don't think I've made a penny on what God has given me the ability to do.
Mm.
You know, and not that I'm saying that I'm here begging for that. I'm not saying that.
Correct.
But what
Correct.
I'm saying is that I believe that there is room for that to be the case, but because money, similar to faith, because money is such a delicate it's such a delicate balance because we're so fast, so fast. You go from the money is useful to the money is to you're being used by the money.
Absolutely.
It's like what is the root of all evil? Not money, the love
Yeah.
thereof
Yeah.
of money.
Yeah.
It's the love
Because it's that love that causes you to go and seek in a very desperate way, doing things to obtain that money that you want that might jeopardize your character. I don't know, man, but let's
let's
stop while we're
let's
ahead.
end this one for today. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you in the next one.
Till next time, guys.